Hello everybody. Welcome to 43 North's first online cooking class with Chef Abbey Solomon. And we have Marcel from Burnt Ship Winery who's going to be doing our wines for us tonight. So Abby, we're going to, I hope everybody's ready and everybody's, what happened?
I'll just turn it on the
Trying to take a
volume.
picture of yourself?
No, I'm turning
Selfie.
selfie.
He's very,
Selfie.
So we hope everybody's ready to go. Got their packages okay today, and we're going to get started. I think one of the things we talked about. Can we get rid of the feedback back there, Mr. Tony, there, so we can. We're going to start with our dessert because the tiramisu is going to need a little bit of time to set. Correct?
Correct. I know in the recipe it says 6 hours, but we're going to let it sit in 2 hours.
So we have three containers in your box that we got. I think it's the one in the bag has all of your. Everything you need for the tiramisu.
Correct. Yes.
Okay,
yeah.
So make sure we have all that on the table, and I'm going to let Abby start and take it from here.
Okay. So a couple things that we talked about just at the beginning of this introduction is just to make sure some things that get going and have you set up properly, so the night is just completely run smoothly and so on. So the first thing you're probably going to do is make sure that you have your oven preheated to 400 degrees. You're also going to have a pot of water on a rolling boil, which is already ready to go. Your cooking utensils are going to be readily available, so you can just grab them and go. Everything's okay? Okay. And then the most important thing is you're going to pour yourself a nice glass of wine from Burnt Ship and get primed and ready to go for tonight. You know what? Let's have a glass of wine. Yeah.
We'll talk about the wine with the food, but you gotta get started.
You know what, Marcel? I'm happy you're here. Thank you. Cheers. Okay. So, let me put this mask on, which is horrible, but we'll get that going. Okay, so this is our first cooking class for 43 North, Eat Niagara. We're going to be putting on a series of these later on with a couple more events and so on. Just a quick introduction. So this is Italian themed cooking class. It's 3 courses, Italian themed, inspired. We're also going to be touching on different kinds of techniques that you guys can use, not just for Italian cooking, but throughout all of the culinary experiences that you're going to have. What? Okay, awesome.
I think the internet back here, we're in a deep kitchen in the back of a stone building, so we're once we see our internet go down, we might see us pause for a bit just to get you caught up, but we will take care of that. Rob's giving me the thumbs up, so I think we're good to go.
Yeah,
continue on, Robbie.
Give and go, and just, it's going to be a learning experience throughout this whole thing. Number one thing is hopefully we don't swear at all. All right. So
that's probably not going to happen.
No, I know. Yeah, maybe once or twice. Okay. So like Fern mentioned, we're going to kind of be doing this dinner a little bit backwards so we have enough time, okay? So the first thing we're going to be working with is your tiramisu kit. So in your tiramisu kit, you got your eggs, whole eggs. You got your sugar, which is in this little cup here. It says tiramisu on it. You also have, these are all 2 ounce, which is quarter cups, okay? That's a quarter cup of milk. You also have your half a pound of mascarpone cheese. We also did a coffee, espresso, and Kahlua. Actually, I know it says Kahlua in the recipe. We use Tia Maria, a little bit more Italian. And then you also have your heavy cream, and then your vanilla. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to start separating our eggs. Okay.
Is there an easy way to do this? Because I know I see my wife do this lots of times, and we get lots of eggshells. Is there a way not?
This is where we were going to go with this. Okay. You're going to see a lot of people doing it like this. Okay. Sorry. A lot of people trying to separate an egg like that. In the hospitality industry, when you have to do 300 of these, this is going to take forever. So the easiest way is just use your fingers, okay?
I hope my wife's watching at home.
She probably isn't. All right. So we got our egg yolks in there. I'm going to move a little bit slower than I usually do, so hopefully everybody else has time.
So we tried to train Abby and let him know that everybody back home is going to take a little more time. So hopefully we're going at the same rate you're going at.
Which is very different because they're usually they're yelling at me to move faster.
If we're going too fast, just call into the restaurant and ask for Tony and yell at him. He's on the hotline right now.
Yeah.
So he'll let us know to slow it down.
He's reading all your comments right now, if there are any comments. Maybe just a little hi or hello to let us know that you're there. Okay. Awesome. So we got our egg yolks, okay? Your egg whites, you guys can keep these for later if you guys want to make meringue, or if you guys want to make something else with egg whites. They'll stay in your fridge for a good 7 days. Okay, we'll set those aside. Next thing you're going to do is you're going to take your sugar. Okay? Dump your sugar in there. Then we're going to whisk these two together. Okay?
Switch the camera to show them how it's going to look back here. Huh? We switch the camera too, Rob, just so they can get a look at the...
Okay, so hopefully it's not hot enough. We're going to cook the eggs, but basically, this process is called creaming. So what you're doing is you're creaming the eggs and the sugar together, and the final stage you want is a nice pale egg. Hopefully the camera is pulling it up and you guys can see it's getting a little bit whiter, lighter in color. Okay, so now we got that.
Tom says hi, Abby.
Oh, hey, Tom. Okay. I look good in a mask. Thanks, buddy. All right, so now we got our milk. We're going to dump that in there. Okay. So right now we got your eggs, your sugar together, and we're going to put this over the boiling water, double broiler. You can do this part in a pot direct heat, but this way is a lot more safer. You're not going to cook your eggs. You're not going to turn them into scrambled eggs. And just keep whisking it.
So hopefully people had the pot going with a little bit of water. Did we mention that at the beginning? So it might take a little bit of time for them.
Yeah, we should have a rolling pot with water. Okay. This same pot we're going to be using for cooking our gnocchi, and you guys should have another pot set up for blanching your vegetables later on. Okay? So this is basically the base of any custard. A custard is egg yolks, sometimes with milk, sometimes with sugar, also known as sabayon or sabayone in Italian.
Can you spell that for me, Abby?
No, I can't. Sorry.
So you're basically just going to keep mixing that until we get our desired thickness.
Till we get a nice thickness. Should be like similar to a custard. Okay. Having it on a double broiler, you can walk away with it. You don't have to sit there and watch it the whole time. If it was in a pot, you would have to sit there, stir it constantly. But this is a little bit more forgiving. Okay. So we're almost at that stage where it's called ribbon. If you pull up your whisk out of the custard, it should look like a ribbon. One single stream. I just got Fern dirty.
Splashstone.
Yeah. Dry cleaning. Okay. If you guys can see that in the camera. Slow down. Okay.
Okay, chef. Okay, everybody's working on it, right?
Yeah. All right. So in the recipe, we say set this aside, let it cool down, so on. You guys really don't necessarily need to let it sit down and cool down. Okay, so now we're going to get, behind you, our mascarpone. Okay. Put that in there. I know it didn't say in the recipe to let it sit out at all. It's always a little bit easier to work with like a warm cheese as opposed to a cold cheese. It's going to help it emulsify together a little bit better.
Is there a certain type of mascarpone that we use, or pretty much any type of?
Yeah, any kind of brand of mascarpone. Nothing specific. If you guys want, you guys can substitute. There's really nothing much you can substitute. You could probably use a cream cheese, but it's going to change the profile of everything.
But it's not really Italian.
It's not really Italian. I felt bad saying it in front of these guys. What's that?
Hey, Nick.
Nick. Like Nick from... Hey, Nick.
Hi, Nick.
Okay. So there you are. You got your custard. Okay.
It sounds like all guys are cooking for the wives for Valentine's Day tonight, Tony. Is that
Bonus
we're
points.
just getting high, or the guys just watching and the wives are doing all the work? I'm not sure.
They're the ones commenting. The wives are cooking, right?
guess
That's
so.
why they're not
I don't know
typing.
about
I don't know. We'll see. Okay. So honestly,
Back.
do we want to put that back? Take a look.
Just to show them the thickness
Yeah.
of,
Okay. If you guys can see that. Okay. Awesome. So right now, that's where we are with that. Okay. You're going to set that aside. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to attack your whipped cream. Okay. Okay. Fern's just dying to cook. I know he's so hands-on.
This is great.
Okay. So now we got our 35% cream. I think it said 3/4 of a cup, correct? 3/4 of a cup in there. Okay. We got our vanilla in there. So now we're going to whip our cream. If you guys have a hand blender at home, you guys are more than welcome to use that. If you have a tabletop mixer, you can use that also. If you don't have that, and espresso, eh?
Thanks, Janine.
Can we get 6? Okay. So when you guys are whipping, the most important, I'm not saying the most important, you can whip any way you want, but the way to get the most air into whipped cream or a meringue is this figure eight technique, okay? So you're just going to keep moving in a figure eight.
Bob says hi. Hey, Bob. I know you're not cooking. There's no way you're cooking out down there right now. You're watching, I know for sure.
Do we have a hand blender?
We do. We need to do something else. You want me to continue doing that? Or
No. You just hold that mic. You're doing such a good job holding that mic.
Yeah, I'm good.
All right. If we're going too fast or anything like that, just comment. We can slow down. A lot of people saying that, Tony?
Slow it down.
Not a lot? Or is it just Tony? Ashley?
Well, Ashley said we're going too
Ashley's
fast.
slow, though.
Yeah. Come on, Ash. Pick it up.
Yeah. She's usually here doing all this stuff.
Bob does all the cooking. Really? Tell him to send a snapshot of him cooking. I want to see that.
Okay, if you guys can see, it's starting to get thicker. We got cream all over the place.
With a blender, they've probably already done it. They got a hand blender, right?
Hopefully.
Is it going to get fluffier, or is that just the consistency you're
Okay,
looking for now?
so when you hear in a recipe, people are going to say stiff peaks. Stiff peaks is where
You lift up.
you lift up and then it stays in a peak.
So is that what we want?
Yeah, that is exactly what we want.
Stiff
Yeah.
peak.
Okay, stiff peak. But right now we're kind of like a soft peak.
I tell you, when we were in Miami, they did it right at our table. They made, they already had the cream already done, and they brought it over, dipped the
See,
cookies in tiramisu right at the table.
and we were gonna kind of do that here, right?
Yeah.
But
well, we want to give people the full experience. So
yeah, I would have had to change the whole
I
recipe.
really wanted to make this part for you, but I thought it'd be more fun and more action if we're doing it at home, right?
Yeah.
People are cursing right now, but
Are they? You think?
how's the peak? You're getting there.
It's somewhat there. Okay, you got a little bit of peak there. There's some points. Okay. Who does? He's a little behind?
Okay, Tom, don't worry. We'll slow down. We'll
No,
keep
no, no,
talking.
no, no, no. Tom, speed up.
Tom, speed up, Tom.
He's a slow golfer, too.
Oh, Tom. Shots fired. Shots fired.
Okay. So,
Well, maybe because Tom's so far behind, you should tell a Tom story or something.
I don't know if I have a Tom story. He was on like the house committee with me, and he used to grind me all the time. But
Yeah?
I guess it's payback now, right?
Yeah, so now we just
Yeah.
keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah, if he's behind,
Yeah.
then
Yeah. Oh well, Tom. Okay, so we're good there. I'm sweating, which is a good thing, probably, right? Okay, so. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to take the custard. Hopefully, it's cool enough. Okay. The whole thing is if we put this if we put this cool cream into this hot mixture without it being somewhat cool, it's going to split everything. Okay. So just make sure
should
that
we put it in the fridge or anything for a bit?
they
or
could put it in the fridge for a bit, but I think if we just keep stirring it a little bit,
Tom with time to catch up.
yeah. Tom's is cold already. Okay. All right. Well, we'll take a shot at it.
You need the.
Okay. If we ruin the tiramisu, you guys can just go to Sylvia's and grab dessert for tonight. Okay. All right. So when it says fold in the whipped cream is exactly what we're going to do. We're going to add a little bit of whipped cream, okay, and you're going to fold it into the mixture. What folding does is it keeps the air somewhat in the whipped cream. Okay. All right. So, again, that's done. Okay?
We just had a comment to maybe just do a quick review of what we've done so far, just so everybody
As
is on
in,
board.
okay, so where we were?
Yeah.
So what we have done so far is we separated our eggs, put them in there. We got our sugar. We creamed the eggs together. We added the milk, put it on the double broiler, whisked it, brought it to the ribbon stage where you pick it up and it stays in one ribbon. Set it aside, let it cool. We've also made whipped cream with the vanilla in it. And now we've incorporated those two together. We're just going to let that sit off to the side. And now we're into our final stages of making our tiramisu. Okay? So your styrofoam container, Tom's probably going to say there's not enough booze in this.
We did the review for Tom. So
Okay. All right. So we got our espresso and then we got our coffee in there, okay? Who's about 4 minutes behind? Okay.
Yeah, no problem.
In the recipe, okay, in the recipe it says dip. Here, I'll move this out of the way so you guys can see. But in the recipe it said dip halfway lengthwise. Okay, that's I prefer that just because I don't.
You want to make sure this is cold, right? The coffee.
Correct. Yeah, it's not
hot,
going to be. It's not going to be piping hot. You guys don't want to just pour hot coffee in there and then
So
start
well,
going.
Cold because I think the cookie will.
Yeah. Okay. So I said halfway lengthwise just because I don't like a real runny, soft tiramisu personally. By letting it sit, it kind of turns more into a cake as to getting soggy, a soggy cookie.
Well, the traditional way that I see always when I watch YouTube and I see the grandma's usually got the cookie, she dunks her whole hand in the cookie. And
Yeah.
hand in there and puts it out.
Exactly
So
right,
it's
and it's the same thing like when the tableside one that you had.
Right.
They dipped it in there and then they poured more coffee on top of it.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
I don't like that personally, just because it just gets too soggy. But if you like booze, You like it that way, you can do it that
So
way.
you can add as much booze as you like to that.
Yeah, you could do it. You don't even have to
What
put
other
coffee.
types of booze can you put on that?
We can do rum. You can do. It's about creativity, right? Like, I always say this into any kind of cooking class that I've done. Is I've learned a basic recipe of something and then changed it, and I've built a career on it almost. Creme brulees, right? For example, if you guys are going to make a creme brulee at home and you learn a basic creme brulee, you guys can add green tea to that to make it a green tea creme brulee. But it's
That's
still
what a lot of people do now. They're just
yeah, it's just about changing stuff, right? Obviously, it's not going to fit in there full, so you can put a couple pieces down. Okay, we're going to pour a little bit of this over top. It's a little runny. If you guys could do a little bit thicker, it would be a bit better.
But that's going to set when you put it in the fridge, right?
Exactly,
Anyways,
exactly. Okay, you're going to put another 2 in there. Add another layer. Hopefully you're a little bit cleaner at home. Okay. You guys can put another 2 in there.
Well, they're making 2, right? So
Yeah. Okay. So you should have 3 cookies for every single one that you have, okay? Just give it a little shake. And that's why typically it sets for 6 hours in the fridge. We're going to see what it looks like after 2 hours. It's not going to taste bad. Just maybe a little bit thinner than
does the
usual.
cocoa come out after it comes out of the fridge?
Yes, if we put the cocoa powder now, it's just going to sink into there, and it's just, you know what I mean? So you might as well just wait. And
So what other things can you top it with, like chocolate shavings, or is there anything else?
chocolate
that's,
shavings, icing sugar, a little bit of curls. If you guys want to do some sugar garnishes, you can do that also.
And for decoration, I know we use the 3 up there, but I mean, even having a cookie sticking out of it. Like
Yeah,
to make
yeah,
a little
you can do
presentation-wise.
different cookies. You can do you know, an almond cookie on top of it or something.
Perfect. All right.
Okay.
That's
All right. Everybody's okay. First course done.
Yeah, so I think we'll get that in the refrigerator, and we're gonna let everybody get caught up and hopefully finish off this dish. You have a few minutes by the time we get set up for our next course, and then maybe we can get Marcel talking a little bit about one of the wines as Abby gets everything cleaned up, and we'll get everybody caught up. So if we're still going a little bit too quick, let us know, and you're gonna have a few minutes to get going here. So just give us a second to get caught up here, and then we'll get on to the next course.
Good. This would be a commercial break right now, right?
All right, while everybody's doing that, we're going to bring in Marcel. Marcel, thank you for joining us. Thank you for coming on board with our first online cooking class. But he's brought a couple great wines here. He's here to talk a little bit about the winery and the wines, and I'll let you take it from here.
Yeah, I think I need that.
You need that, yeah.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Well, great to be part of this this first cooking class here. So just like everything is made in house here at Johnny Rocco's, it's the same with these wines. About 7 years ago, after working already a decade and a half in the Niagara wine industry, I partnered up with a great grape grower here in Niagara. We purchased a great 15-acre parcel on east-west line, right in the heart of Niagara wine country. That's how we started, and we're focusing on approachable wines. Pinot Grigio. We also do a Sauvignon Blanc and Cabernet Merlot. Easy, approachable wines, but made with that integrity from vine all the way to the bottle. So everything made in house and 100% family business. When we started 7 years ago, our first vintage Pinot Grigio won a gold medal at the All Canadian Wine Championships and put us on the map right away. And it's been a crazy ride since. So always loved the Niagara wines, but to really get into the on the ground level has been really rewarding. So today I'm not going to go too much into detail right now, but we have you know, the gnocchi dish, which is just screams for something nice and refreshing. So we're going to go with the Pinot Grigio there. I'm going to talk about that a little bit, why this is a Canadian Pinot Grigio style and not an Italian Pinot Grigio, but just as rewarding. And then normally we know pairing chicken or poultry with white wine, but that all depends on what kind of sauce is served with. So today we're actually going to be pairing chicken with a Cabernet Merlot, which is a blend of our Cabernet Franc, our Cabernet Sauvignon, and Merlot. We'll wait a little bit until the gnocchi is done, and then we'll talk about the Pinot Grigio in more detail. So thanks again for having me.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks, Marcel. That's
Thanks
awesome.
for bringing the wine.
All right, Mr. Abbey.
I wish we can lose the masks.
So we've got some great comments so far. Bob said, I guess he already made his tiramisu, Abbey, earlier today, so he's a little bit ahead of the game. He's a little bit of a hot shot. So.
Did Bob already eat it?
What's that?
Did Bob already eat it?
I'm not sure. He'll let us know, but hopefully it's good. If it's already been setting, he's going to wait for dessert probably after you finish these 2 courses, but I'm sure he'll let us know.
Okay.
So what do we got coming up?
Okay, so
First course box.
correct. Box number 1. It's the gnocchi box. You guys are going to notice that you got a pre-made gnocchi in there. We wanted you guys to eat tonight. Okay. So that's why we kind of took some steps for you guys to make things a little bit easier, to try to get your night running smoothly. So basically, all you have to do is just sit back and watch this one if you guys care about making a homemade gnocchi. Homemade gnocchi, it's very, very simple thing to do, okay? You don't even necessarily, like, you can make gnocchi out of sweet potato. You can use a mix of potatoes and beets. You can use potatoes and spinach. But basically, it's whatever you want to make your gnocchi out of. So gnocchi is basically a potato dumpling. And that's pretty much it.
You're lucky that my grandmother's not here. You're saying you could make all this different stuff here. She'd be able to...
I know, she'd be rolling over.
You'd be getting the spoon across the back of the head thinking
She'll be rolling over
right now.
And this is why I hate cooking food for from people from their ethnic region.
Well, you've
Like,
been
I
cooking
can't
food
stand
for us.
it.
I understand that. but
Okay,
yeah.
so hopefully there's no Italians in the group tonight. Just the ones we got here. Okay, really, there is a recipe for the gnocchi, but once you get a hang of it, you don't need a recipe. It's all about feel and how it binds, and it's just testing. So the first thing you're going to do, you got 1 pound of potatoes in here. You're going to notice some skins in my potatoes. I was kind of in a bind. I didn't have time to peel, and we used some mini white new potatoes.
Well, that's where all the nutrition is anyways, isn't it, Abby, in the skin?
Sure. Okay, so we got 1 egg in there. Okay. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to mix kind of like the egg and the potato, because that's the most wet part, right?
So this typically should be done by hand, though, not with a mixer. It'll break up the potato too much? Or
Yeah, like you can do it in the mixer also.
Yeah.
If you guys want to do it in a stand or in a tabletop mixer with the, I guess, the hook part, the hook attachment, not the whisk or anything like that. You'll probably burn out your machine, but the whole reason is that you want to put the potatoes with the eggs because it's very, very wet, right? Then what you're going to do is you're going to add a little bit of flour at a time, okay? The number one thing about cooking is you can always add more. You can never take it out, okay?
Well,
So that
me and my father made pasta once, and we kept adding more water, more flour, and then we made enough for 700 people.
exactly.
So you can continue to add. It's just gonna really, if at the end of the day, if they do add too much flour, you just gotta put more potato and then more flour.
And then more potato, and then you end up with 700 pounds, right?
Happens, yeah.
But if we're gonna do 1 pound of potatoes, you're gonna add the flour to the potato, and then you can always add more. Do it in a little bit. That's basically what I mean. Add a little bit at a time. Same thing with salt. If you're ever seasoning something or sauce, you always want to salt at the end, but you can always add more salt. You can never.
Do we always tell you to put more salt and stuff? Or?
But that's you guys don't even smoke, which is crazy. Okay.
Well, you
So-
see that starting to come together.
Yeah.
Now,
So in the recipe, it says 1.5 pounds. Are you going to need 1.5 pounds of flour? Possibly, possibly not, depending on how your potatoes are. If your potatoes are really, really wet after you're done cooking them, then you're going to need more flour. Okay. So there comes to a point where you can actually start using your hand, right? And the whole thing is you don't want that stickiness like that. Hi.
Danny, do you want to say hi? Come on, or Danny.
Yeah, come.
Danny's I just want to make sure I know your grandmother doesn't make it like this.
Oh yeah, she does. She does. Pretty close. Pretty close.
Yeah.
Pretty close. See, that's a compliment. I take that. Okay, see how it's still wet? You want to get rid of that, right?
So it's got to be tacky. Is it going to come off your fingers clean, or
Yeah, it's going to come off of everything clean.
It's almost like a dough when you're starting to press it.
Exactly.
You want it to be clean.
And then
right?
there's different kinds of like, either people are going to like, some people like soft gnocchi, some people like chewy gnocchi. I personally like a chewy gnocchi. What do you like?
I like the way you say gnocchi.
Yeah.
Gnocchi? Are you saying gnocchi or gnocchi? What do you say?
Gnocchi. It's gnocchi.
okay.
It's gnocchi. You want some gnocchi? Okay.
Oh, maybe we got a little too much flour. We got to have more potato in this one. I don't know.
No.
No, you're good? Okay.
Still good.
Just making sure, yeah.
See how it's still sticking to my hands?
Yeah, I see that.
Okay.
So is there any other utensils you use when you start to make these? Is everything done? There we go.
Well-
I was just going to say, Abby, you had one course and you're still perfect. That's like very unlike you. And there goes the
What is
flour. Now we're talking now. Okay?
Oh.
But yeah, so is there any other utensils that you use as far as when you're going to
Yeah.
start to make this?
Once we get to, that's gonna be the fun
Why
part.
don't you take that out of there and do it right on the table so they can see what, because they can't really see that, right?
Okay. So there we are. Okay. Honestly, that's good where we are right now. We're just gonna salt it a little bit.
So I'm sure Bob already did his own homemade gnocchi this afternoon along with the tiramisu. He's just watching for the fun of it, eh, Bob?
Yeah.
Hey?
Bob's just flexing.
Yeah. So is it a good time to put the salt there, or should you mix it when you have everything
You should
in?
probably put it in when it's a little bit like mashed potatoes, but like again too, right? You always want to put. You're adding flour to it. You're adding potatoes to it. You're adding eggs to it.
The only thing is the salt. You're not going to really.
You're not really gonna. You're gonna have to. You're gonna have to
If
test
you
it,
like
right?
lots of salt, you're going to put a little bit more. If you like a little more salt.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
You're going to have salt in the water too, probably when you're cooking.
Yep.
It, right?
Very good. Okay. So right now, that's a gnocchi dough. Okay.
That's a what though?
Gnocchi.
I just love hearing you say that.
Okay. You can touch it. It doesn't stick to your hands. I'm gonna go wash my hands actually.
Okay. So is it typical? Like how many gnocchi you get out of a certain pound? Like how many you get? Like is there some kind of ratio where you have 2 pounds of the dough and you're going to get like 200 gnocchi? Because it's hard to judge how much people are going to.
Off the top of my
how much
hand,
they're gonna want,
that's
right?
gonna make quite a bit of gnocchi, I think. Right. Okay. So next thing you're gonna do is you're just gonna. Roll it into a cylinder.
I see. Every time you see gnocchi, you see them in different shapes. Even the one they got today. Sometimes you see them on like a complete log. People cut them by hand.
Yeah, it depends. It depends on what people want to do, right? Typically, I've seen gnocchi like straight like that, or you can do. You would use a gnocchi board. Is that what it's called? I think it's called a gnocchi board. Yeah.
What's the one where you got to when you grab it and then you're kind of moving your finger? And
Yeah.
right?
That's what we're gonna do. Okay, so again, where did I
Yeah.
put the flour?
You got to have the wrist. What are you looking for? Oh, flour's right here. Sorry, you need more flour?
Yeah, I got this guy cleaning up in the middle of it.
You know,
Okay. So we got a little bit more flour here, right?
yeah, because you don't want it sticking together. Right?
Exactly. Okay. Move that out of the way so you guys can see. But so you can stop right here if you want. If you don't want to go that
more rustic that way.
if you don't want to go that next step, right? Or lazy, one or the other way. Or you can, if you don't have a gnocchi board, you can run it down the back of
Oh, look at that.
a fork,
That's fancy.
and that'll give you a nice little ridge that it's going to hold the sauce more, right? If you guys don't want to use that, you can use that,
Oh, look at that.
which
I've
is
never
another
seen-
one.
I've never seen gnocchi look like that.
or you
That must
can
be in the
use
hood.
another strainer. So it doesn't really matter, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So at this point, you guys can either cook your gnocchi right away, or you can put them on a tray, a little bit of extra flour.
Let it dry out. You can leave that to dry out for a bit, or
No, freeze it.
no? I'm saying if you're going to cook it today, but it can sit out for a bit, right?
Yeah, it can sit out for a bit. Okay. That's pretty much the demo. It's just very, very simple. It's not a very difficult thing to do. It takes a little bit of time. If you guys want to do it, it makes a fun day for you and your family. If you have kids, or if you want to do something with your spouse, but who wants to do that?
No, it is a fun thing to do.
I shouldn't say that. My wife's actually watching,
My
and
kids,
she's
my
lovely.
kids love making it with their nonna making it.
Yeah.
That's fun, right?
Okay. Any
So we're gonna
comments,
move on to-
questions? Homemade pasta. Oh, thank you.
Oh, Justin, thank you, Justin.
Thank you. Appreciate
Obviously,
that.
you've never seen my grandmother make it, but Abby did a good job.
Well, it's
Did
probably
good
a lot
job.
cuter
No,
when
he
she
did.
does
No, he
it,
did a really
right?
good job.
Oh,
So
no,
we're
it's
so we're
not
working
good.
on the gnocchi di zucca now. So we got the ravioli there. We're gonna
Okay.
do a quick cleanup.
Yep.
Do we anything else, Marcel? You want to talk about yet, or you want us to keep going here? Or we're gonna do a quick cleanup and then move into the yeah. Come on in, Marcel. While Abby's cleaning up.
Well, a lot of people always wonder where the name for the winery comes from. So, if you come into Niagara, see that burnt chip on the side of the highway? Yeah, that's not what it's named after. Just to get that out of the way. It's actually I love history, and I love the history of the area. A lot of people, when they learn about history of Niagara, all they talk about is War of 1812, and they forget that there's a lot of things that happened before that. Burnt Chip Bay is a actual bay in the upper Niagara River. Today, it's on the U.S. side, but back in the day when it was called, or when Burnt Chip Bay, what it was named after, there was no border. So this is going back to the 7-Year War, 1750s, and the French were in the area and being pushed out of the area by the English. And the story goes that they had their boats there and full of payroll and all kinds of goods, and they just couldn't leave fast enough, so they burnt them down. And so into the 19th century, when the waters were lower in the river, the burnt hulls of the ships would look out, and the locals called it Burnt Chip Bay. Now there is a story that the treasure is still down there, and I've heard, as you have the name and you talk to different people, I don't have any proof, but I've heard from different sources that there are people that have been diving in that bay, and they have actually pulled out coins. So I'm not a diver, but if there's anyone that wants to partner on this, then I'm happy to move on from the wine business and just start digging out the rest of the coins. But yeah, that just as a side of where the name of the winery comes from.
Thank you. That's fantastic. That's a great story. Abby, hear that?
No, I was busy.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, I think we're going for coins.
Where?
We'll let you know when.
Was it the Bladoons? Bladoons? Okay. Hopefully everybody's having a good time, right? You guys drinking wine?
Does that mean you need more?
Yes. Where are we now?
All right. You rocking and rolling? Got your next drink? You know what? Sure, I'll have a little bit.
Red or white?
White's good. Thank you.
That's chef's glass.
Oh, that's chef's glass? All
Yeah.
right, chef.
COVID.
Chef.
COVID.
Already had a whole glass, chef?
COVID,
You
yes.
got 3 courses, eh?
Yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Hang on. It's like a chef that
My
doesn't
wife,
eat
my
his own
wife's,
food.
my wife's super jealous right now. So
Cheers.
Abby's doing shots of wine right now back here. Jeez, Murphy's Abby.
I don't have time to keep sipping.
Okay. All right. So gnocchi di zucca.
Okay.
Hard part's out of the way. Where are we at?
Where we at? Butternuts.
Handmade, pan-seared potato dumplings in a butternut squash cream sauce with sage oil, toasted walnuts, and shaved grana padano.
Okay.
Wow, say that twice.
I can't. Okay. So we're on to the butternut squash sauce. Super simple sauce. It has been with me for a lot of my career. It's
Did you
currently
use that sauce during Iron Chef?
no, I didn't.
Oh, you didn't use
I
that
didn't.
one.
I didn't use it at Iron Chef.
And you were in Chopped Canada too, correct?
I was on Chop Canada. I was runner-up on Chop
Runner-up.
Canada.
Well, we could have lied and just said you won. Nobody's ever going to know you would
I
have
don't
won
know.
anything, right?
I
No?
didn't even get the jacket. They didn't even give me a jacket. They gave me a handshake and they said go home.
Not that's it, eh? Really?
The guy who won wanted to take me out for drinks, and I'm like, no.
What did the guy who won get?
10 grand in the jacket.
Really? You got nothing?
In the jacket. I didn't even. Well, I could have got a free drink, but you know what he did? He was an illustrator, and an author, like he does cookbooks.
Mm-hmm.
Won crazy awards and stuff. You know what he gave me? A signed cookbook.
Oh, that was nice.
It was nice too. I would have took $1,000 though instead.
Did he make it anywhere after he beat you?
He was on Top Chef. His name's Pierre Lamel. If you guys want to Google him.
French. That's why you got beat.
It was actually a pretty good episode too.
Yeah.
It was pretty funny. Okay, so we're at the butternut squash cream sauce. You guys have everything. So you guys should have your bag of squash. You should have a container of heavy cream. You should have onions. There is also a container of garlic, a container of canola oil, some salt, and some pepper. Okay, these are going to be used for multiple recipes, so it's not going all into this recipe, but it was all in that box. Okay, you also have some shaved granite padano. You have your white wine, toasted walnuts. You guys have fried sage that's in a container like this, but we're going to be frying some sage for you. And then we're also going to be toasting a little bit of walnuts, or I'm going to explain how to toast walnuts since you guys didn't have it. And you guys aren't going to be prepping that. And then we also have a liter of vegetable stock. And there's also a smaller container like this full of sage oil. Okay, not very many ingredients at all. My theory behind cooking is trying to keep things simple, but making it more extravagant by just keeping it simple. You want to taste everything that's in your dish, right? Okay. So we're just going to move everything out of the way. We're going to get a pot going over here just to get it hot.
And that's not the proper way, obviously, how we light a burner, but this is the quick way we do it around here. Please do not attempt to do that in your house.
Sometimes you just got to do stuff that works, right? All right. Okay. So for the quick, we have everything cut for you guys, but I'm going to explain a couple things to you. One of the simplest things that people find very difficult is how to dice an onion properly, which is very, very simple, right?
Slap chop. Remember the slap chop?
I wish I had a slap chop. Vince, I wish I had Vince's money. Anyways, okay, so if you think about an onion grows from a root system. So that means everything's attached to one end. You're going to leave that end attached. So it holds the whole onion together. Okay? So just give that quick top. You can trim the bottom a bit, but you want to leave that root all together. Okay? Next thing you're going to do is you're going to slice through the root evenly. Take all that
I
off.
think our friend Bob, who's watching, knows a little bit about onions and how to cut onions, eh, Bob? Probably done a few onions in your life. He's a bloomin' onions. Sold about 10 million in, over his lifetime, probably.
Bloomin' onions, they're expensive too.
Maybe you can come down and do one of our shows and show us how to do some candy or some bloomin' onions one time. So you can think about that. Maybe it's a good idea.
There was a chef knife somewhere.
Was there? Well, you must have put that away.
Did
You need
I?
a chef knife? I'll grab it for you.
Thank you. Sometimes things happen, you know. There's Fern. Got me a nice pink
Got your
one.
favorite color?
Nice pink one. Or strong salmon. Is that what they call it?
Strong salmon. Yes.
Strong salmon. Okay. So, like I said, we have everything attached to that one end. The root, everything is stuck there, right? So what you're going to do is you're going to slice through. And depending on how big you want your dice is how wide you do your original cut. So if you want a fine dice, you're going to cut it as fine as possible. If you want a thick dice, which is kind of cool because you're going to get two different cuts from one onion.
So what are we looking for now for this recipe? What's the best?
Okay. If you guys look at your onions, it's a very, very fine dice, okay?
Oh, we already cut the onions for them.
We did.
Oh, I didn't
We're
know
just
that.
giving them
I
a
thought
little
we were
demo
showing
on
them.
how
Yeah,
to cut an
gotcha.
onion.
Yeah. So we're looking for fine onion here.
We're looking for a fine onion. But technically, honestly, it really, really doesn't matter for this recipe. The reason why? Cooking is, it's all common sense. The more you think about your recipe and what your final product is, the easier it makes it throughout the whole system. So since this is a puree, that's one thing I didn't think about too, is the puree. How are we going to puree it? Okay?
All right.
So, since it's a puree, it doesn't really matter how anything is cut because it's all going to turn to mush anyway, and we're going to puree it, and
Gotcha.
so it's smooth, right?
Yep.
So it doesn't matter. We're not going to spend a lot of time. That's fine.
Want that hot?
Yeah.
Keep it hot there?
Yeah. We're not going to spend a lot of time cutting these onions, right? Then you're going to go through once, twice, okay? Then you get a diced onion,
Perfect.
okay?
Yep.
That other half was cut thick. Then you got a thick cut. Very, very simple, okay? All right. Okay, so let's get to cooking this thing. So the first thing you're gonna do, we're gonna,
Switch the camera there, Mr. Rob.
yeah, just keep going. I don't have to talk to you. I like talking to Rob though. Okay. It's these Asian eyes. All right, so we got a little bit of oil in there, okay? Next thing you're gonna do is you're gonna put your onions in. Reason why you're gonna put your onions in is because that's gonna cool down your oil, so your garlic doesn't burn. Okay? Thank you. Then you're gonna add half your garlic. Okay. This whole process right now, you do not want any coloring there. You want to just sweat it, sweat your onions, release the oils from your garlic, kind of build some flavor in there. So after we do that, we're just going to let that cook for a little bit. Let it saute. I think it's okay.
Yeah, looks good.
Okay.
We're rocking.
All right. So we got that going.
So do you add any seasoning or anything at this point? Nothing yet?
Nothing at this point. Like I said earlier, I usually season at the end of anything, unless it's like boiling pasta or things like blanching vegetables. You're going to put that salt right into the pot of water right now. But if it's like a sauce or a soup, what's happening while you're making a sauce and a soup is what's evaporating is the water. So if you season now, all the salt's still left in there.
Gotcha.
Okay?
Yep.
Our audio guy's flipping out. Okay, so we got that in there. Now you're going to drop your wine. Nobody drink this wine at home. It's cooking wine, so there's salt in it, okay? Tom, I'm talking to you.
So we're not using this one, right?
No, that's for you. Okay, so cooking wine has, well, typically at restaurants, there's salt in our cooking wine. It's just the way it is. They put salt into it. Oh, look at Tony sous chef, eh? Sous chef Tony Visca. But we've seen a lot of line cooks drink that wine. So, okay, so we got our wine in there. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to cook out your wine. You don't want that winey flavor in there. You want to be reduced.
How long does it usually take?
Probably a good 3 minutes.
Like, is there something you could see when you know that the wine is completely...
In the recipe, it says reduced by 1/3. So if you put your liquid in there and you get to 1/3 of your liquid,
So what happens if you don't reduce it enough in the wine? Like,
it's just you're going to have that pungent wine flavor,
Right.
that acidic wine pungent flavor, and you don't want that in anything.
yeah, gotcha.
Okay.
Anything we could be working on next to get ready while they're doing that, or everything's just an add-in here? Nothing to chop, or
Nothing to chop, nothing like that.
we're gonna need do they need to find something like this in order to get to this point?
Yeah, okay, so what you guys can actually be doing, I think in the recipe it says either a hand blender or a food processor. You guys can get that ready, just so you're ready. We're also going to need to get your sauce. We're going to need your sauce to reduce a bit, so that's going to take some time. So there's no real rush. If you guys notice, you hear that sound? That's your oil. So that means most of your liquid in your wine has reduced, okay? Next thing you're going to do is you're going to add your squash. Okay. Then, after that, you're going to add your vegetable stock, okay? You necessarily don't have to use vegetable stock. You can use chicken stock also. But I wouldn't suggest using a beef stock or a pork stock or anything like that. Okay, again, we did give you a liter of stock. You're not going to necessarily need a liter of
Probably about
stock.
half.
Half of it. Just remember, like you can put the whole liter, but you're just going to have to wait for it to reduce longer. So you're going to turn that to a medium-high heat. Let it boil. And that's where we are. So we can wait for that. While we're waiting for that to cook, you guys did get a sage oil. You guys got some sage oil, and you also got some fried sage and some toasted walnuts. Okay. There is a recipe for the sage oil, so you guys can follow that, but you don't need to make it because it's already made for you. Again, we try to speed up the process for you, so you're going to eat dinner tonight.
So are they heating up the sage oil right now, or what are they doing with the sage oil?
No, the sage oil, they're not making it at all. I just have the recipe in there for you. We already pre-made the sage oil for them.
Right. That's going to get added to whatever we do.
Yeah, it's basically a finishing oil for the pasta.
Yep.
Typically, but you guys can, when you guys are making a sage, or when you're making any sort of oil, you can use lemon zest, orange zest, make any kind of flavored oil that you want. If you guys want to put curry in there, chili powder or chilies, you can make a chili oil. But this is the same technique that you're going to use for all those different kinds of oils. Okay. The number one thing when you're infusing an oil is basically just leaving it in somewhere that's warm. So you can leave it in the windowsill, you can leave it on your oven while something else is cooking, but you do not want to add direct heat to it, okay? Because then you're going to start deep frying whatever's inside of it. Okay.
So we got some boiling happening in the squash. So we got to get to a point where it softens the squash now that we can.
Yeah. Soon as that squash is soft and easy enough to puree, then we're there. Okay. So that's going to take a little bit of time, but in the meantime, I'm going to show you guys how to do some deep fried sage. See, the thing about restaurants or anything like that, it's not necessarily the food, it's the garnishing and everything that goes with it to bring it to that next level, right? So this is one little trick that you guys can do at home. If you're doing something with sage, say if you're going to make the salt and boca one night and you needed a garnish for it, you can do some deep fried sage with it. and so on.
So it's more for the garnish, the sage, then.
Yeah.
Than anything, right?
Yeah, but it does add, like Culinary Dropout, we have that deep fried kale.
Right.
Same process, right?
Right.
If you guys want to make kale chips at home, it's the same process. Any kind of green leaf, basil it'll work with, sage it'll work with, parsley it would work with. Anything dense like thyme or rosemary, it won't work with. Okay. So you got a good boil going on with your squash. What you guys are looking for is you're going to wait until it's soft.
It's easier to have the pieces cut a little smaller to go a little.
Again,
quicker.
also, right? Like if the squash was cut a little bit smaller, it would cook faster. But what that also does is incorporate more water.
Right.
Right.
So you lose a lot of flavor of the squash. Then.
Exactly, right? Okay. So as soon as this oil is hot, we did all your fried sage in a deep fryer. We typically don't do any pot oil. It's fairly dangerous. In a restaurant setting, it's fairly dangerous just because there's a lot of moving parts. But at home, if you guys are keeping an eye on it, and if you don't have a deep fryer, you can do that also, okay?
So it's a certain temperature you got to get it to the oil before you drop.
Typically
Like I
around...
just noticed that you just tested it right now, right?
Yeah, typically, like, if you have a deep fryer, you have a thermostat on it, you can do about 350, right? If you're going to do that at home, you're going to need a special kind of thermometer that can reach up to 460 degrees, right? But basically, it's just like cooking, like I said earlier, it's a lot of common sense. The more you think stuff through, the easier it makes it. Okay? And then always test. It's always about testing, right? Like when you guys are making your gnocchi, cut one piece off. Try it into the water. See how it cooks. If it doesn't taste salty enough, add more salt to it. Okay. So we're good?
Yep.
Yeah, up above camera? Okay, just keep going. Just keep going, Rob. Producer Rob saying keep going. Okay. So now we're just going to throw that in there. If you guys have a strainer, like on a long strainer, we didn't really have one readily available. Or if you guys want, you guys can use tongs. So all the little bubbles when you're deep frying something, that's all the water escaping. What we're waiting for is no bubbles. The water, all the little bubbles inside there, that's all the water releasing from the leaf. Okay? Okay. What I would also do is have a paper towel ready. Sous chef ferns in there. Okay. So there you are, and then you got your sage, your garnish leaves for your risotto or for your squash gnocchi. Okay. That's that. Yeah. How are we looking for time?
We're at 7 o'clock.
7 o'clock? We got an hour?
Yeah. People are getting hungry.
Hers?
She says it smells. What smells delicious? The
Her food?
what she's cooking right now. The yeah. Thanks, Ash.
Okay. So, I guess we can move on to something while this is cooking. We did that. Do you guys need a demo on walnuts? Should we do a toasted walnut? You don't really need to do a toasted walnut, eh? Nah. Okay. So we'll move on to... While we got this going on, we'll do the fig and red wine sauce for the chicken. That way we can watch what's going on. And like, if you guys noticed, all the recipes are super simple. Nothing too complicated. this fig red wine sauce is a very, very simple, easy sauce to use. If you guys are in a jam for something, if you guys need to, say if you have, it would probably even go with a steak. You don't necessarily have to use a fig jam. You can use a mixed berry jam or something like that. So a red wine fig berry jam, or a red wine fig sauce, or a red wine berry sauce would work. Okay, you can throw a little bit of herbs in there if you like, a little bit of rosemary and thyme. Again, it's just, it's all about being creative, right? If you learn that basic recipe for anything, you can always alter it to the way you like it or something that you would rather have, okay? So again, you always want to work with a hot pan, right? So things are a little bit, they move a little bit quicker and so on. That whisk go. Whisk. Okay. While Fern's getting us a whisk, we're just going to take that off a little bit.
We don't use cooking wine for the fig one, right?
No. For the fig, we're actually using the burnt ship. You can use real wine. Of course you can use real wine. Honestly, I don't even know where you can buy cooking wine, like, as a civilian, like, regular person. The only place I've seen it is in, no, restaurant industry. Like, ordering from suppliers and so on. Yeah. Oh, my God. Fuck. I looked away for, like, a second. Okay. All right. So you got your wine in there. Take it off the heat a little bit. Okay? Drop your fig in there.
Another one here for you. That one's a little better.
Thank you very much. Yes, much better. Okay. We got that in there. Okay. Again, too, all these recipes, just on your fig sauce, on your butternut squash cream sauce, make sure you turn it down a bit, okay? Because your liquid's going to evaporate before everything's cooked. If you guys need to add a little bit more stock, that's why it's there. Okay? Okay, so the fig sauce. Again, it was kind of difficult making recipes that were enough for 2 people.
You make something.
Yeah, so if you're going to make something, you're making it for at least 4 to 5 people. It's a little bit easier on portioning.
So this fig jam is for what?
This fig jam is actually for the saltimbocca. So this is the sauce for your saltimbocca. Okay, just give it a good whisk. You want to make sure everything's dissolved.
So we've
Okay.
already made the fig jam for them, or is that, are they making it?
No, they're going to make this. So I know you guys got a couple things going on the go at one time. Might be a little bit difficult. The fig sauce doesn't even take that long. It's almost there. Okay.
So once that's up, we're going to set it to the side?
Yeah, we're just going to set it aside, and then we're going to use it for our chicken later on. Okay. So that's there. It thickens pretty quickly just because of the natural pectins inside of the jam and things like that. So if you're going to use like a mixed berry jam or a strawberry jam with red wine, you got a sauce, and it's right there. Okay. Awesome. So we can set that aside. That's ready to go. Your squash sauce. Oh, it's almost there. We're just going to give it a little bit longer.
How soft do you want it?
you want it as soft as you can get it possibly. This is one thing that you really don't want to rush, because if you start pureeing it and it's not fully cooked, you're going to get chunks of squash in there, which isn't necessarily bad, but you want that nice, smooth, creamy consistency.
I see you have the luxury 2000 puree master of the 20th century there. Is that...
Did you see this is
that,
the Black & Decker
the Black-
1000.
it's the Black & Decker 1000.
Black & Decker 1000.
Did we test this thing and make sure it worked before we go
it-
live or no?
I don't know. It might rip a hole in space-time.
Make sure the power's working on it. You might have to put the lid on first, right?
No.
Yeah, that's. Are we plugged in? We get the audio visual there to make sure we're plugged in.
Sue.
I'll put the lid on right there.
Oh, okay. I know.
There you go. Now we
You know
can
why?
press down, you press
You know
down.
why? This is broken.
No, that's the way it's made.
No. It's
the
broken.
Black & Decker
It's
there.
broken.
I don't know what he's talking about, folks. Nothing.
Oh,
but
look
there
at
it
that!
is, there
Look
it
at
is,
that!
there it is.
Oh!
No, see, we want to
Okay.
cook fast here, so we got rid of this piece here. So.
Yeah.
Right?
Look at that.
No, so not everybody's got one of these at home. So how are we pureeing if we don't have one?
If you don't have one of these,
Yeah, chef.
hopefully you have a hand blender.
Yep.
If you don't have one of those,
Yep.
you're gonna go old school with a masher.
Masher, right? So you can still do it with a masher, right?
You could do it with a masher. Are you gonna get that smooth consistency sauce? Probably not, but I think it's the 21st century, and everybody should have a
We're
blender at
a
home.
little bit more rustic, but that's okay.
Yeah, everybody should have a blender at home. Okay. So, a couple of those pieces are still hard in there.
So if you're looking for make it a little bit quicker next time, we just cut the piece a little bit smaller. Right?
That's it. Yeah. Okay.
So once we're going to puree this, is there anything else we're adding to that still?
Yeah, we're
Hot
still
sauce?
going to add a little bit of 35% cream, but what we're going to do is we're going to take the squash out, we're going to puree it, we're going to add some of the liquid at a time to make sure it's the right consistency, put it back in the pot, and then work with it that way.
And then we're going to get the gnocchi ready. So does the gnocchi take very long to boil there?
Gnocchi doesn't take very long at all.
How do you know when the gnocchi's cooked?
Oh, let's
Huh?
get there. Let's
Test?
get there. Let's wait until we
Oh,
get
how do you
there.
know?
Let's get there.
Oh, AV guy knows.
Hint, he's Italian.
Well, actually, my fruit tree today, this year, last year, produced a lot of figs.
Oh yeah?
I was going to throw it away.
You didn't bring any figs to us though.
Yeah, we didn't see one
Remember
fig,
you brought
Rob.
us one figs.
Years we hadn't had any.
We didn't see one fig, Rob.
I was going to toss it. I said, no,
Danny, how do you know when the gnocchi's cooked?
those things started growing.
When they start to
Sing?
When
Sing?
they start to amollo. Amollo. Is that the word? Is that a
don't
real
know.
word?
they come a galla.
When they come a gala. Is that a word, Danny, or no? Yeah, okay.
Italian. When you flow.
Hey, float. Yes.
He's so much more laid back when he's not on camera, eh? Okay. Some in the back there. No, I don't need it. I don't need it. Okay. All right. Okay. So, may be ready, may not be ready. But we're going with it either way. Yeah. So we're going to get the squash in there. The reason I do this is I just want to make sure that it's not going to be too runny, okay? Technically, with the recipe, it should be fine, but I just always second guess stuff. Okay. So there we are.
Watch the top. This come flying out. Watch top of Look at that. That's the Black & Decker 2000, ladies and gentlemen.
It's just gained 1,000 in the last 10 minutes.
That's incredible. So obviously, if it wasn't cooked, you'd be seeing more chunks, and it wouldn't be now. How do you know when it's the perfect, right?
Okay.
We show that under the camera to see what.
So right now, this thing is killing my ear. Right now, you guys got a pretty good puree. It's a little bit chunky. It wasn't cooked fully. You still got some hard stuff in there. But if you guys want, just let it cook a little bit longer and you should be fine. Okay, we're gonna add the rest of the stock, which is probably pretty good. So total, we use about 3/4 of the stock. Okay, depending on how hot your pot was and how hot how big your chunks of squash were. Okay. So there we are.
That looks like soup.
You got your squash sauce. What's the difference between a sauce and a soup? Consistency, and that's basically it.
Well, you can't have a thick soup.
Oh, technically you don't want a thick soup.
What do you mean, a chowder or a...
Not like super thick. You don't want chunky. It should be like smooth and velvety.
You haven't
like
tried one of my soups, then,
you
have
can
you?
pour it. No, I haven't actually.
Okay. Until you do, then don't talk about consistency.
Okay.
All right, next.
So we're gonna add that. We're gonna put that back. We're gonna turn the heat down really, really low. Okay. Now with a whisk, we're gonna put this over here. Put that over there. Put that over there. That goes there. Okay, where were we? No, this one here. Okay, so you had 50 grams of sugar, whatever container that was in. Okay, you're gonna dump that in there. You're gonna dump your cream in there. Okay. Then you're going to turn that back on, and you want to bring this to a boil so it all comes together. Okay. So while we're waiting for that to come to a boil a little bit, you always want to clean up as you go so you don't have a huge disaster after. And your wife isn't mad at you for making her dinner. Okay. Okay, at this point, if your sauce is too thin, what you guys are going to do is you're just going to cook it a little bit longer and it's going to get thick. Okay? If your sauce is too thick, you're going to add a little bit more stock to it.
But if consistency doesn't matter as far as if somebody likes something a little thicker or thinner? Like, what's the best...
You always want, so you want, there's a stage when you get to a sauce, it's called à la nappe in French cooking, French style cooking, where you put your spoon in there and you can run your finger through the spoon and it'll be two separate sauces. That's the perfect consistency for sauce.
It doesn't matter what kind of sauce? Like,
It doesn't matter what kind of sauce or anything like that, an Alfredo sauce or anything like that. It should be à la nappe, which is that's that perfect consistency where it's going to coat everything. It's going to sit nice on the plate. It's not going to be clumpy. It's not going to clump to your pasta like in chunks or anything like that.
So would you typically bring this to a boil now?
Yeah, you're going to bring it to a boil. You just want to bring the cream, the squash, everything together. Okay?
So I noticed you still haven't... did you add any salt or anything to this already?
No, not yet.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Again. Okay? In the recipe, it does say salt and pepper. I put salt and pepper because people do like salt and pepper. Me personally, I would not put pepper in that just because I don't like the black specks in it. If I was going to put a pepper, you could put a white pepper. Then you won't notice it. Okay? Subconsciously, it's kind of weird, I know, but like, when people see black specks and stuff, they automatically think it's burnt. Or they think something's going to get stuck in their teeth, which is weird. And it's already setting people off without them even trying the dish.
So it's something, a table preference, if somebody wants to add something on their dish at the table, then they can add it, right?
Yeah, exactly. You can always add pepper later. You can always add more salt later.
So are you tasting this for flavor now at this point once you get the proper thickness you want?
Yeah. We're going to bring it to that right spot. Again, like I said earlier, right? All the steam coming out, that's all water, okay? Cooking is basically about extracting water from product, right? So you want to extract all the water out of there and just leave flavor in that pot. But you see how it's getting that nice consistency, somewhat smooth. Okay? At this point, I would get a spoon. What spoon's there? Yeah. I was somewhat prepared tonight. Where are you going home?
That's a big spoon.
It's a quick spoon. It's pretty good. I'm not
say
just
so
saying
myself.
it's pretty good.
So no salt or no salt needed there.
You know, you're gonna need salt, but it's like for no salt, it's pretty good. You want to come taste? You sure?
Here, I'll give some to the DJ there.
Personally, if it wasn't COVID and this is at home, I would put the spoon back in. But it's COVID. We're in a restaurant. We need a new spoon. You need a little bit of salt. Yeah, I'm tasting food.
So this is boiling now. It's bubbling. It's
Okay. So that's pretty much there right now. Okay. So now you're gonna take your salt. Rob tried it. He thinks it doesn't need salt. What salt does is it kind of like hones all the flavors together. It brings it together. It doesn't like. Usually, sometimes you can taste, like if you taste a dish, you can pick out things individually at a time. What salt does is kind of bring all the flavors together. Okay? Not very much, and there you are. Okay? Voila. There's your sauce. Okay? Wasn't very difficult. Hopefully I got all the ingredients in there. Did I miss anything? I know somebody's going to comment and say that I missed something. Nope.
good.
Okay, I win. Okay, next. Gnocchi. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to plate all this too on this course. I guess we can do two, eh?
What would you like me to say, Rob? People are getting hungry, Rob. Trying to make Abby move. Everyone's getting a little hungry.
Yeah, I know, eh?
So are we eating as we go here, right? So gnocchi, they're not waiting.
No, they can eat.
Once we
but-
start putting this gnocchi down, as you're eating and we're cooking and we're talking, you start eating because you don't want it to get cold after. So
And we could stall a bit if you guys don't have enough time.
no more stalling. People want to eat.
What time is it?
This is the longest cooking show on the YouTube.
20 afters?
We just
20
broke
after
the
7?
record for the longest cooking show on YouTube already, I think.
Okay.
Are we there yet? Yeah, I think we're there.
Yeah, gnocchi's going in, okay?
All right.
The good thing, your chicken course is super simple and super quick,
All right.
okay?
So gnocchi, so how do we know when it's ready?
Why don't you answer the question? How do we know when it's ready, Fern?
my
You've
job.
been dying to answer
It's
it?
my job to ask the questions, Robbie. Abby, it's your job to answer them.
Okay.
I haven't stumped you yet, but I will.
He probably will. Okay, so your gnocchi is done when it floats.
That's gnocchi, not gnocchi.
Gnocchi.
If anybody was asking.
Gnocchi.
Gnocchi.
Gnocchi. Potato dumpling. See, we don't want to get hung up on technical terms and
Now, these ones here have been sitting, but if you make them homemade, like as far as how quickly in the flour, they're going to cook even faster, correct? I think they go even quicker, no?
well, these are somewhat like by the time these guys are using it, it's already defrosted already, right? So like it's not going to take a long time to cook. If
Right,
you're
no-
going to cook them from frozen,
I noticed you got your pan hot already, so everybody
Yeah.
should be getting their pan hot.
everybody should be getting their pan hot also. This is the stage where we're going to ask for your nonstick pan.
So what happens if we don't have a nonstick pan?
You're going to use your best pan that doesn't stick.
Should we put anything on it?
Oil, yeah.
any oil
We're
or
going to
anything
get
on
some
it?
oil on there.
All right.
Okay. So where are we? Bring salted water to a boil. Add gnocchi. Canola, nonstick oil.
Carefully add the gnocchi to the pan and sear dumplings until golden brown and crisp.
Look at that. Okay. Where did that oil go?
Which oil are you looking for? We're on the search for the oil. Was it a portioned out oil you had already?
Yeah, it was a container. Did we throw it out over here?
Yeah. Do you need what kind of oil? We got oil here.
We'll go with it. Oh, look at that.
Are they boiling?
All your gnocchi's floating.
Can we see that?
This is delay, eh?
No, we're good. We're not delayed.
Are they going to get overcooked, Rob?
No, they're boiling. Don't listen to Rob. He's just.
Okay. So very, very important, okay? You guys are going to make your gnocchi it's going to be very dry. You got to drain the water out of this, okay? Because you're adding it to a pan with oil. What happens when you add oil and water together? Fern?
Doesn't mix.
You get a lot of splatter.
Like that?
A lot of splatter. Okay?
Make sure you got your fans going in your houses there. And we don't want it to stick,
You got to
right?
keep shaking this the whole time, okay?
So what's the purpose of that? Like normally we do a pasta, we cook it, and we're putting it right into sauce.
Right
So
into the
is this
sauce.
giving it another consistency as far as on the gnocchi?
So what we're doing here is we're going to get a nice little crisp on it, right? Just to add a little bit of texture and not have that soft gnocchi in there. It's going to be a little bit of a crunch to it. Personally, I love this as a side. So like a side is with steak. It goes well, or like pork, just like crispy gnocchi. You can put some sage in there with some butter if you want. Just as a side dish.
So you're looking to get some kind of like a brown toast on it,
Yeah.
right? Little toasting on it.
If you notice, you're going to see some color in there, okay? You're also going to notice that it's sticking to the bottom of the pan. So that's why it's so important that you have a good non-stick pan.
Are you trying to say we don't have a good non-stick pan?
I'm still looking for one.
Okay.
Okay. Andres, can you grab me a ladle? Ladle, please.
Are we getting close to eating soon?
You're almost there. We're at
All right.
plating spot.
I'm gonna pass out here in a second.
You could have your tiramisu if it's ready.
Oh no, it's still. We just did a check on it. We're almost there. We should be ready
All
by
right.
the time.
So we got all our gnocchi. We got our sauce. Now you're gonna add your sauce to there. Shut off the heat. Okay. You got that in there. You're also gonna give it a little bit more salt.
Ah, yes,
Right?
salt. That looks delish.
Okay. Then we're gonna get. These are some hearty Italian portions we gave you.
I think that's a normal portion. I don't know what you're talking about.
No, that's a hearty Italian portion.
You must have suffered at your house growing up. Because I'd be knocking off both those bowls right now, okay? Just saying. Just saying.
Okay.
Do we have our wine ready when we have this, Corey? What are we having for wine? Marcel.
Can give it a little bit.
Let him dress it up.
All right, he's going to dress it up. You get the wine ready.
A little bit more sauce, okay? And this is where you're going to get your finishing. So you got your walnuts. You got your fried sage. We only have enough garnish for one of them. So we're going to garnish one. Okay? We got that in there. So you're going to get your walnuts.
So the walnuts could be room temp, right? They don't got to be warm now,
No,
right?
they don't have to be warm or anything. They're already toasted. You guys don't have to toast them. Half the portion for one pasta. Okay? Give it a little crush. Throw that up on top. Then you're going to get your grana padano and your sage. Okay? Whole thing when you're doing anything, okay? It's not about placing stuff. You just want it to fall naturally. Natural fall, okay? Then we got our sage. And then your sage oil.
Wow, that looks great.
Okay?
Can we
You wanna
a
do a
shot?
top shot?
Top shot, yeah.
Looks good?
Looks great.
Doesn't matter. I don't have to look at the delay, right?
Looks great. Yes.
Okay?
You put that there?
And there you are.
So, I gotta see your microphone. So I'm a food geek. So if it hadn't been for my dad, who used to be a chef, telling me that he'll disown me if I become a chef and work in the hospitality
Smart
industry,
man. Smart man.
I got as close as I could without actually being in it. So love cooking at home, but what I like more is when other people cook and taking pictures. So good food pictures, if you're taking pictures straight from above, or you turn the phone upside down, take the camera on the bottom,
Look at that. Look at that.
and you get really great food shots.
You flip the
Okay.
camera so the lens is on the
So
bottom.
instead of going like this, you turn the camera, you put it upside down. You can also, if you know, we're gonna take a we're gonna post this.
What's the Instagram, Marcel? What's the Instagram?
Hold the plate. Stick out your arm straight to me. Okay, lower a little bit.
Hold on, Marcel. Hold on. We gotta get. We gotta do some marketing here.
Marketing?
And look at this, baby.
Do that again, Marcel. Do that again. Come on.
Okay, we're gonna do that.
Get that in there.
Look at that. Marketing. You guys don't even learn. You learn how to cook. You learn how to market.
That's it.
Learn how to Instagram. That's yours, sir.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And you know what? We're gonna have the Pinot Grigio with it. So I said it's not. It has the Italian name, but we're in Canada, so it's a Canadian Pinot Grigio. And in true Canadian style, we mesh all the cultures together. So there is no Italian clone of Pinot Grigio, or as the French call it, Pinot Gris, grown in this region. It's all French clone that in France
Use
they
it
make
for
Pinot
squash.
Gris from, which is usually a little bit more heavier, oilier style that also can spend some time in oak. This is 100% done in stainless steel, so really refreshing, just like your Italian Pinot Grigios, but because it uses that French clone, it has a lot more fruit on the nose, a lot bigger fruit on the palate, but it's still super refreshing. So you get some nice characteristics of tropical fruit, cantaloupe, peach, a little bit of grapefruit and lemon zest. So with this, with this sauce that's a little thick and you got the cheese there, it really, that acidity kind of cuts through that creaminess and it cleanses your palate in between bites of the food. So it's really that every time you have that refreshing white, you're starting with the food again. So the two things kind of really play off each other. So this looks fantastic. I'm going to have a sip of wine. I'm going to enjoy some of this food. Chef.
You deserve it.
Thank
You
you.
deserve it. Our host is eating. I wish we need a cameraman so we could just. Okay, so we got. What time are we? What time are we at?
We're at about 7:15.
7:15. So we got 45 minutes for this last course. Right? Okay. Okay. You guys, this is super simple meal. Okay.
Why don't we have this on the menu?
Your risotto is similar to that. So Johnny Rocco's currently right now, the squash sauce that we made here, we're using it for our chicken butternut squash risotto. It's the same sauce. Okay? Hopefully everybody's okay. Our moderator's gone also. Everybody ran away.
I'm back.
Is there any questions or anything? Tony, how we doing over there? Tony left.
No, I think everyone's good. I think everything's on board. We're good.
Okay.
Hopefully people are enjoying their gnocchi right now, having a bite, so you can talk while we're getting ready.
Okay, so we're gonna do this super quick. Okay, you guys are gonna see the fastest main course ever, and that's like a full main course, not just the protein. Okay, so
we're doing our chicken saltimbocca. So we got their 2 boneless, skinless chicken breasts, 2 slices of prosciutto, and 4 fresh sage leaves, with our rosemary parmesan fingerling potatoes. So you should have your fingerling potatoes, your canola oil, minced garlic, salt and pepper, rosemary, and grated parmesan.
Okay, so our first, what you guys are gonna do first? Okay, you guys do not have to boil the potatoes. We already parboiled them for you. Okay, we took that guess out of there, but whenever you make a roast vegetable or a roast potato or any sort of root veg, you always want to boil your veg first, okay? Because what you're going to do is you're going to take, if you don't boil it, you're taking this dry potato, you're putting it into a dry oven, and you're going to get a dry potato. And you don't want that.
So you're talking even if you do chicken and potatoes or anything in the oven, you should always
parboil your potatoes, parboil your carrots, parboil anything like that. Okay. So basically, all we did was we just took this cold water, put it into a pot, brought it up to a quick boil, boiled it for 2 minutes. They came out and they were still. You could hardly put your you could hardly put your.
It's just a little soft. Takes that
Yeah,
softness out of it.
takes that out of there, right? But after the carryover cooking, because it's going to cook once you take it out of the pot, it's going to keep
So
cooking.
we brought them. We sent them potatoes already parboiled.
Already cooked, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So the first thing you guys are going to do is you guys are going to go and you're going to cut all your potatoes in half lengthwise. Okay. You don't have to.
Bob's probably already got this done for this afternoon.
Bob's
so-
probably already eaten his meal. He's just sitting there.
Hey, Bob.
He's-
Just slow down for the rest of us.
Yeah.
Gnocchi's delicious. Thank you.
When did you have it? 2 o'clock this afternoon? Okay. We got all our potatoes, okay? Lengthwise.
It's okay. Your pan. So should they be getting a pan hot right now too, or we're good? We're a little early on that.
Yeah, we're a little bit early. This is actually for your salt and boca, okay?
Okay.
We're a little bit away from that. So what you're going to do is you're going to get your potatoes. You're going to get your salt. You're going to get your pepper. You're
So
going
just
to
keep in mind, you guys, with what we gave you in salt and pepper, he's just putting a pinch.
Yeah.
Don't put the whole 2-ounce container in there.
Okay. You're going to get your rosemary that we gave you, and you're going to take it off the stem. Okay. Whenever you guys are working with herbs, a good rule of thumb, if it's brown, you pick it and you don't eat it. If it's green and soft, then you can eat it.
If the stem's brown,
Yeah, so like thyme, for example. Sometimes you get like a thick piece of thyme that's brown. Sometimes you get thyme that's green.
Why can't you eat it?
It's not edible. You won't digest it. It's fibers.
You won't, no, I'm saying, but if this was brown and down, but this is. You're saying
That's fine,
yeah. Okay.
right? I'm talking about the stem.
Gotcha.
So like sometimes you get thyme, the stem is green, you can cut right through that. It's fine. If the stem is brown on it, you want to pick it off.
Gotcha.
Okay?
Yep.
Okay, so we got that going. We got our knife. Okay. You're going to mince.
You always see this spice with potatoes. This pretty because it's one of the best spices to put with potatoes.
Yeah. Potatoes. Usually for a lot of my potatoes, I do a mix of thyme and rosemary. If I want that herby flavor, sometimes I use paprika. Okay, so you want to get a nice mince. You don't want any large pieces because you can actually choke on it if it gets cooked.
Oh.
Okay.
So obviously using the fresh herbs is way better than using the dried stuff.
Oh,
right?
fresh herbs are the way to go always. Okay, so you got that in there. You guys are going to use a little bit of canola oil. I have some sage oil that I'm using.
So we have the oven preheating to 450 right now. Do we know that?
450 or 400, right?
So you should have your oven preheating to
Yep.
400.
That was the explanation at the beginning. Okay. Another thing you guys should have in your kitchen always. Parchment
I always
paper.
looked for some the other day.
Parchment paper saves you like headaches like no tomorrow.
It's a cleanup too, right?
Okay. Another thing you guys need is a pan with a metal handle. Okay.
So it'll go right in the oven.
So it can go right in the oven. Okay. So you don't want to transfer it. If you guys don't have one tonight, that's fine. Don't worry about it. You can sear and then transfer it to a container and then put it in the oven. Okay. But, okay. So we got our potatoes in there. We got our rosemary, our garlic. That's going to go right into your oven. Okay. Leave that in there. If you guys are cooking potatoes at home and you're bringing them up to a boil, they're undercooked, cut them in half. Just leave them in the oven a little bit longer.
Yep.
Okay. Awesome.
So how long are those usually in the oven for now? What do you think?
You can go about 15 minutes, 20 minutes. Okay. We put that in there. So by the time you finish prepping your chicken, it should be almost
Chicken's gonna be
there.
A lot quicker than we were.
Yeah,
cooking.
chicken's going to be there.
That's
okay?
why you're doing your potatoes first.
Exactly. Okay. So if you guys notice, this was by total fluke too, because I totally forgot I was going to put a bag in your bin, but we double bagged it. We double bagged your chicken.
Did we?
Yeah. Ashley did.
Oh, after.
Yeah. Ashley was like, I don't like it. We can't do it. What if it leaks?
So what's the reason we did the double bag?
Well, we did the double bag. Ashley did the double bag because she didn't want your chicken to leak all over the
The
place.
reason really is.
But really, the reason why we should have double bagged it because you're going to need this bag to pound your chicken. Oh, okay. Another thing too. When Fern was packing all these chickens yesterday, he was like, "Do we have to trim these?" I was like, "No, because you guys are going to trim them today."
Oh, all right.
Okay. So you're going to get your chicken. Sometimes there's a little bit of fat there. You're just going to cut the fat off. Ashley was telling her about our boyfriend today, and he just, instead of just trimming a little bit, he cuts that all off. You don't do that, okay? Hopefully you saw that.
All right. That's fired.
All right, so we got that there. Well,
Oh, all right. We're gonna leave
we'll
that
just
one
use
there.
another knife. Okay. We got our chicken. Okay. How we doing? Yeah, we're gonna need it to blanch, but that's fine. Okay. So now you got your chicken here. What we're gonna do is you're gonna put your chicken in there. Not all the way to the end because you need room for it to grow, kind of. Okay. You're gonna get your meat tenderizer, and we're not gonna pound it so it's like disintegrated. You're just gonna give it a nice little pound.
Okay.
No, that's not pounding.
Just because there's a lot of utensils on there,
Yeah.
they make a lot of noise there.
Typically, if you want to do this, if you have a wooden counter or like a wooden butcher's block, that's the best thing to do, okay? So now your chicken is all out.
So do you need to flip it over and do it on both sides? Or you
No,
good
just one side. Okay. This isn't like a piece of like a loin from a veal where it's tough, right? Like a chicken breast is already tender. What we're doing is we're just making it a little bit bigger. We're kind of flattening it. It's going to cook a little bit easier. Okay. Then you're going to get your prosciutto. Okay. Put that on top like that. Okay. I think I had salt and pepper your chicken before you do that, but we can wing it. You got your 4 pieces of sage. This is just going to get opened up. You're going to push it down on top of there. Okay, you can give it a little bit of oil also, which helps it stick. Okay. So, are you guys going to salt this chicken like super, super, super heavy? No. Why? Because there's prosciutto on there. Prosciutto is very, very salty already, right? After you cook the prosciutto, it's also going to be like even more salty. So, a little bit of salt goes a long way on this, unless you're Tony and Fern. Shots fired. Okay. Get that going like that. So here you have your pan. It's on like a medium-ish heat. You're going to add your oil. Okay. Then what we're going to do is we're going to carefully put the prosciutto side down. Okay. Again, if you have a non-stick pan, it'll work best. Okay, so we got all that going. I don't think we need to cut anything else. Do we? With that cutting board, maybe we'll just set up the other cutting board just in case. Got that towel. Okay. You don't want to cross-contaminate your raw chicken.
So I noticed you got a low heat there, so you don't want a high heat there on the chicken?
Yeah, you don't want a super high heat. It was kind of It was kind of hot, but you will need to get a good sear on it.
So prosciutto side down, correct?
Prosciutto side down, prosciutto sage side down first, okay? You want to get that nice crisp on it, okay? Whenever you guys are cooking anything, okay? So restaurant-wise, restaurant thinking, cook chef-wise, you always want to work with your presentation side first. Okay, your presentation side is the most important side because that's what the guest sees. Okay?
So we've already done our red wine fig sauce, right?
Correct.
So do we need to heat that up at all, get it hot, or is it just so?
We got lots of time. We still got to wait for the potatoes to cook. We still got to wait for the chicken to finish cooking. Okay. You guys also have rapini.
It's funny, the sage looks perfect. Eh? It doesn't look burnt or nothing, right? Even though it's been...
Well, it's that same kind of technique when we're deep fried the sage, right?
Yeah.
Where it just went green and it got crispy. Same kind of idea, right? Okay, now that's going to go right in the oven. Remember what I said before about having that metal handle? Makes a world of a difference.
Now we're doing a little bit different. I know typical Saltimbocco has cheese, correct? I believe it's provolone on some of them. But
Some of them,
yeah. You could add that. Correct?
You could add it underneath.
At what stage would you do that though? Would that be after it melted if you wanted to add cheese to it?
No, I would do it now. I would do it, but you would put it underneath the prosciutto, right?
Right. Because I have had it with cheese before.
Okay. So if you guys look at your fig sauce, were you from the top, Rob? Oh yeah. Okay. So if you guys look at your fig sauce, it kind of like got really, really thick, eh?
Like jam.
Yeah. All you got to do is just add a little bit of water, a little bit of heat, and it'll come back.
Okay. So do you want? Is that going to be hot when we need it, or is it going to be kind
Just
of,
just a little bit warm. You don't need it super hot. Okay.
Yep.
Your rapini. Your rapini, you're gonna get a hot pan. Okay. We're not gonna need. We could have probably waited a little bit longer on the potatoes because the potatoes are probably not going to be as caramelized as we would like them. But you guys got the idea.
So you don't boil the rapini ahead of time?
Yeah, the rapini we're going to boil.
We're boiling them?
Yeah. We're going to boil the rapini. We're just going to...
Well, hopefully everybody's enjoyed their gnocchi so far. If you can give us a comment, let us know how you liked it.
Okay.
Well, the Leaf game's on. What's happening in the Leaf score? Anybody know the score of the Leaf game? It'd be nice if we had a TV back here.
Well, you wouldn't have been talking. Okay.
Just let everybody know we got all kinds of videos posted on YouTube there. They can subscribe next time.
Yeah, well, we're going to talk about it at the end. But yeah, Rob makes a good point. We're this is, like I said, this is our first online cooking that we've done. We plan on doing one every month. You guys are our first timers with us, so we plan on probably giving you a little bit of a discount on future orders. We'll let you know, keep you posted as far as when we're going to do it and what we're going to do it. But please share your meals and tag us on social media.
Yeah.
At 43 North Restaurant Group, just to help us promote it a little more and getting a few. I think we were up to 16, 17 people tonight that we had cooking, which is a
which
great
is
start for us.
pretty good for a week of marketing for this.
I know hopefully next week we're going to get back at it and welcome some guests back into the restaurants, but I'm sure there'll be a few people still enjoy cooking at home. And what are we thinking for our next one? Are we any ideas yet? What are you thinking?
Tony asked to do some sushi. We could do sushi. We can do.
Yeah, we're going to do some culinary dropout restaurant in Fun Hill. We're going to do some themed stuff that we have coming out of there with a little twist.
Yeah. If you guys have ideas, if you guys want to learn something, comment. Something that you guys really want to learn, or. Okay. So, Rapini, we're there. Water's boiling. Drop her in there. There should be salt in your water also, okay? This is the only time that I salt pretty much ahead. Thomas Keller, very, very famous chef, says that your blanching water should taste like salt water. Should taste like the sea. That's how much salt he puts in his pasta
You're
water.
blanching, right?
Yeah. Okay. Again, this
There's a
is
certain kind of salt, like you always see rock salt or or like
typically in restaurants we use a lot of kosher salt just because it's most cost efficient, right? The best kind of salt is, of course, sea salt. Fleur de sel, very, 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 very good.
maybe we have a few more minutes here. Do you want to bring in Marcel to talk about the wine, or do you want to get
This is going to take 2 seconds, and then while we're waiting for the potatoes, you can talk about the wine.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. This is going to be like one more sec, okay? Any sort of green vegetables, you guys don't want to cook the snot out of it. You want to cook it for just the right amount of time, okay? So again, you're going to get there's a container of olive oil in here, okay? A little bit of olive oil in that pan. You don't want the pan super, super hot because olive oil has a very, very low smoking point, okay? Smoking points on different kinds of oils is just basically how much fat content is in the oil, okay? So the more fat that's in the oil, extra virgin olive oil, butter, burn very, very quickly. Canola oil, refined coconut oil, very, very, very high smoking point, okay? So you're going to drop a little bit of olive oil in there, okay? Again, we're going to drain the rapini very, 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 very well because the water and the oil don't mix. You get a lot of sizzle. You're going to take a little bit of that garlic you have. You're going to throw that in there. Again, I did not throw the garlic in first because the garlic would burn in that hot pan, okay? A little bit of a salt. A little bit of pepper. And you're good to go. We can set that off to the side, and then Marcel can talk about his wine, and then we can probably plate right after. Yeah. Come on, Marcel.
All right. Well, it smells fantastic in here. So we got that, got that wine and fig going on there. We got the prosciutto in the oven. Just super yummy. I gotta put this down for 1 second. So as I said before, like normally poultry, chicken, turkey, quail, all of that good stuff, you normally stick with white wines. But then again, the protein is only the one part of this dish. So the other part of it that we're going to see a lot of is what it's dressed in. So you have that saltiness from the prosciutto, you have that little bit of fruit from the figs, also a little bit of acidity of the red wine. So we can actually go with the red wine with this. Now, if you like your big cabs, absolutely not. That would just kill this dish. But the Cab Merlot that we make is actually more a medium-bodied red. It's really ripe, really juicy. So there is no, that notes of bell pepper or something that you might sometimes find. This is just full of rich cherry, plum, some cassis, like blackberries, and it's only been in oak, in seasoned oak actually, for 3 months. So it has some nice structure to it, but really what speaks to you out of the glass on the nose and on the palate is actually the fruit. So it's predominantly Cab Franc, and Cabernet Sauvignon, which do very well in our area, right in the heart of Niagara wine country, in the 4 Mile Creek sub-appellation, one of the hottest spots actually in Ontario, in Niagara, to grow grapes. And we can ripen these grapes fully every year. And then we soften the blend out with some Merlot. So again, it's just 100% fruit in here, and it's your Monday to Friday wine after work, during work, and when you're having a kitchen party like this. So you get that drying sensation on your cheek, in the inside of your cheek still, the tannins that come a little bit from the grape skins and the barrels. But what you're going to notice when you take a bite of the food later, you're going to have that saltiness from the prosciutto that brings down that kind of drying sensation and just pumps up all that red fruit, those red fruit characteristics in the wine. So if you go back and forth between the food and the wine, it just becomes this real fruit bomb. It could even, in a way, we'll test it out, taste like the wine almost has a sweetness to it, but it's actually not. It's just the fruit. It's just the sensation. So these wines, both of these wines, the Pinot Grigio and the Cab Merlot, are bone dry, but really fruit forward. So those two things are not opposites. They can actually go hand in hand. So you can have a fruit forward wine, but bone dry. So enough talking about this food and wine pairing. Chef, I'd really like to try the two things together.
They're ready to go.
Awesome.
Okay.
Awesome.
So I'm good? Yeah? Okay, so now we're at the assembling stage. We did pretty good timing. We got about 10 minutes left until 8. So now we're going to do the plating. And then we're also going to have to finish the tiramisu quickly. Okay. Thank you very much, Marcel. Okay. So your potatoes are done. Honestly, we could have left them in there a little bit longer. They're fully cooked. There's nothing wrong with them. So right now, they are a rosemary Parmesan potato, correct? So now we're going to take these out, drop them into a bowl. You guys should have a little container of Parmesan. Okay. And you're just going to give it a quick toss. Okay. Then you got that. Okay. We gave you a good hearty portion. Do you guys need all of that? No. Do you want all of it? Sure. Okay. You're going to put your potatoes down. I'm not going to use all of that. Remember to save some for your spouse or whoever you're having it with. Okay. Then you're going to get your rapini. You guys wouldn't have a little break in between. Just going to plop that in there. Then you're going to get your chicken, which is totally cooked. Okay. And then finally and lastly, and the most important part, is your fig red wine sauce. Okay. There you guys go. We're just going to show them first, and then we could do some pictures.
Yeah. I noticed that you put the sauce along the sides and not on the chicken. Is there a reason?
Me personally, I don't sauce on top of something that we spent so much time to try to make it look good. Okay. We took the time to make the prosciutto crispy. You put the sauce on top of it, it's going to make the prosciutto soggy. We took time to make your sage crispy. Put the sauce on top of it, it's going to ruin it. You want to showcase that. Yeah. Same thing like if you guys are going to do a steak and you take time to make nice grill marks. Why are you going to cover that up? Mm-hmm. Okay?
Yep.
All right, so we got one picture. You sure?
Yeah, we're good. He's good.
Ooh.
These people want to eat. Let's go. Let's
And
get
then
their tiramisu. We got to fix
we
up
got
still, right?
Marcel,
Marcel gets in for the shot.
his famous Instagram post. What's your Instagram, Marcel? Should they follow you? Do you want them to follow you?
I have Niagara Vintage and Burnship Bay. So the winery is under Burnship Bay, at Burnship Bay, and then I have a personal one under Niagara Vintage. But I don't have a food post blog, and some people might know me from our Restaurants of Niagara Facebook page.
Yes, that's right. That's all you. That's great. Well, that looks fantastic, Abby.
Awesome.
Pardon me?
Start with the bottle.
Yes. Get the wine in there. Oh.
I like it.
Yeah, it looks delicious.
Okay.
We
Buon
got- we got an-
appetito.
We got a comment that said everything is great. Next time we need pasta fagioli. They said.
Okay, that's gonna take up a long time then, huh?
Oh, that's for me. We need to order from by here.
Okay, let's get to this dessert so people can
Okay.
eat and watch the Leaf game.
Could it set a little bit longer? Yes. Is it gonna taste good? Yes. Are we worried about it? No. Okay. The last thing you guys got to do is just add a little bit of cocoa, okay? If you guys do not have a shaker at home, okay, you can use a shaker. If you don't have a shaker, this is kind of beat up, but
What are you trying to say?
is that we need new strainers. Okay? And there you are. If you guys want to put a couple berries in there, if you want to put a
Little chocolate
strawberry,
shaving on there.
shaving, whatever you want. Okay?
That's fantastic.
Awesome.
Great job, Abby. We want to thank. We
Okay.
want to thank. He wants a shot of that. We want to thank Marcel. Thank you very much. Come on in, Marcel. Thank you very much for. That was awesome. That was great.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for
Marcel,
the support.
appreciate it.
We
Thank you
wanna
very
thank
much, sir.
everybody for signing in tonight, and hope everybody enjoyed their meal. Send us some pictures, send us some posts, so we can take a look and see what. Hopefully, if they look even better than Chef Abbey created tonight, would be great. So keep an eye out for on our sites. We will be doing, like I said, we're looking at doing this monthly. We will have a referral program. We're going to do a couple different things as far as building it up. As soon as probably within the next week or so, we're going to know what we're doing on our next online course. So
We have all your emails, so we're going to be contacting you personally through that to help promote this, and we appreciate you guys being on the ground floor for this new
thank you.
new
Thank you
concept.
very much for your support. Like I said, hopefully we get back open next week, but we're definitely something that we want to continue to do. We have the 4 or 5 different restaurants, so we would kind of want to bring a little bit authenticity of all different kinds of
Yep.
cooking throughout all of our restaurants. So, like I said, I think we're focusing on culinary dropout next in Fawn Hill, and then we'll move around and we'll continue to
Yep. If
hopefully feed you.
yeah.
But
So
thank you very much. Have a great night, and
appreciate it. Thank you,
thanks.
and thanks again,
Thanks,
Marcel, and great wine.
thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.